Hello fellow gunners, Tim here at the reloading bench, where I'm loading up some 350 Legend with the 225 grain Game King. Now this is a soft lead tip bullet. Now I've sized these down to 357 to try to avoid the bulgy brass. Now I've loaded two already, one in Starline brass and one in Winchester brass. Here's the Winchester brass, and as you can see, of course, when I need a pointer, I don't have one. Let's see if we can use this pen. You can see right here, it's that bulge. Now this is the Winchester brass. I'm going to measure right there where that bulge is. That's the end of the bullet. I'll lock that in so you can see it. That is a .3805. And you can probably disregard the 5 because this stupid caliber here tends to throw a 5 in when it ain't needed. But let's say it's a 3.80. Alright. Now here's the one with the Starline brass. You can, you know what? I can't see that with the naked eye, but I can see it on camera right there. Wow, that's funny. I can't see that with. Yeah, I can too. All right. Well, anyway, let's measure the Starline brass. Right in that same spot. All right. Look at there. It's 4 thousandths smaller than with the Winchester brass. That's how much thicker the Winchester brass is. And I have already, here's another thing I want to point out. My overall length for this caliber is supposed to be 2.260. I have these at 2.275. They're 15 thousandths longer. Now they're fitting in my magazine and they're feeding in my gun. And the reason why that is because this is a pretty long bullet, and I want to make sure when it's crimped, it's getting a bite on the bullet and not just over the overdrive. So that's why I'm doing that. But I can't use this bullet with this Winchester brass, even when I size it down to .357. It don't function in the gun. It wants to jam. Don't want to feed all the way. Yeah, it's not safe. I'm not doing it. So that one will probably be stuck in there for a while. But if you guys are wanting load data, this is loaded at 20 grains of little gun. We're going to go in 5 grain, 0.5 grain increments, and probably go up to maybe 22 grains just to get a feel. New caliber. I've never used this powder before, so I'm not familiar with it. New cartridge, not familiar with it, so I'm kind of being on the safe side. And I'm not going to load 5 of each round. I'm only going to load 1 of each and go from there. And just test the speeds, Look for pressures. I'm just going to be safe, guys. And we'll just go from there. But I have loaded, and you can see a pretty good bulge now. This is Winchester, and this is with the my new bullet, my new NOE bullet. Yeah, can't get the dadgum thing to focus. But anyway, this was with my new NOE bullet, and they are sized to .3565. And this is with the, see, you can see a little bit of a bulge on one side, not the other. Oh, that's really strange. That's really strange. Anyway, that's the Starline brass with the same bullet. I've got, what I've done is I've loaded 5 of each brass with certain loads. What is this? 19.2 grains at 2400. And then I've got the cranky Cletus bullet, the Arsenal 358 155, round flat nose, and they are sized to they're all sized the same, 3.56.5. And this is loaded with 23.8 grains of 110, H110. I've got 5 in each of those, in the Winchester and the Starline. And then my NOE bullet. And I have the Lee 358 158, which comes out to 160, and it's a real big flat point. I've got them loaded at 23.8 grains of H110. I've got another one of my bullets, and this is 17.5 2400. 17.5 grain for the cranky Cletus bullet, and 17.5 grains for the 2400. And then I've got 5 more of my bullets with 25 grains of H110. So I think I've got the minimum and the maximum, and nothing in between for the H110, but only loaded 5 of the 25 grain H110 to go from there. And then I'll see you at the range. Alright guys, I'm back from the range. I'm going to start off with, I'm loving this. I love this 350 Legend. Holy moly. Uncle Dave, if you're watching, you said you'll never put that 223 upper back on there. You might be right. Yeah. This is something else. Okay. Let's get, first thing I want to address is this magazine. It's from CMMG. It, for some reason, is scratching my brass. Look little spot where it dips down. See where it dips down here? And it kind of folds in. That is just scratching. And it's on both sides. A pretty good size scratch in my brass. Of course, every time I go to show this is take two anyway. I can never find a piece of brass that's scratched. Oh, I never thought about that. I bet when I fire it, it smashes that scratch out. So let's go with one that hasn't been fired. Well, anyway, it's been scratching my brass. Number two thing I want to address is, if you'll notice, this side's all been fired, and this side hasn't. This is the Winchester. These are the ones that I got to fire. I don't know what the deal is. Winchester shooting themselves in the foot with this, but they hang up. They won't go into battery. I've never had an issue with the Starline brass. The Starline brass was flawless. My bullets are size .3565. They're not even 357 size. And they're just hanging up. I've got 28 rounds that I'm going to have to pull the bullets because I can't get them to cycle in this gun. Now I guess there's a reamer out that you can ream your cartridge or your chamber to where they'll accept bigger bullets with that brass. But I don't know if I want to go that route, because if it's just Winchester brass that's having this problem, I haven't tried the Hornady or the Federal yet, and I will before too long, I guarantee you. But all right, now let's get into my loads, what I'm shooting. All right, now this is the NOE bullet that I cast. It's gas checked. Okay. My first load was 19.2 grains, 2400. And with the NOE gas check bullet in the Winchester brass that I got to fire, I did get to fire all 5 of them, but Uncle Jim, I did have to use the assist. But anyway, the average was 1963 on that bullet. And then the same bullet, same charge, 19.2 grains, 2400, with the Starline brass. Now this bullet weighs 157 grains, gas checked and powder coated. The average was 1854 in the Starline brass. So I lost about 110 feet per second. But, like I said, no issues. They fired. All right. And then the second loading I had was 23.8 grains of H110. And this was with the Cranky bullet, Cranky Cletus bullet. And it's a 55 grain, plain base, round, flat point, flat nose, however you want to say that. It's an arsenal mode. With the Winchester brass, I got 22-23, which was really good. I'll show you the target here in a minute. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't get any range footage, but the range was... It's always... But this morning, there was two groups, and they had their kids with them, and which is great. Kids need to be out there. They need to learn. But sometimes they don't always pay attention to what's going on. And the second group that brought their kids down, in between lane changes or code range, they run down and was climbing on the berm. So I didn't get any range footage. Probably wouldn't have been all that good anyway, especially with me clearing my gun so many times with that Winchester brass. But anyway, so then with the Starline brass, same load, 23.8 grains of H110 with the Cranky Bullet, Cranky Cletus Bullet. It's powder coat. It's not the high tech. It's a powder coat. I got 2156. So I lost about 70 feet per second with that brass and that charge. But once again, no issues. All right. The third loading, well, actually, could be the fifth or sixth, however you're looking at this. 23.8 grains of H110. Now, this is with the NOE gas check bullet, 157 grain. Winchester brass. I got 3 of them to fire. If you guys wondering, with the Cranky bullet, I got 2 to fire. And with this bullet, I got 3 to fire with the Winchester brass. And it averaged out at 22.43. Okay, now the same load, 23.8 grains H110. These are all 5 gas line, gas check NOE bullets with the Starline brass. It's 21.14 average, so lost about 130 feet per second. Wow. That floors me how case capacity changes just that quick. And let's see if we can. And there is no pressure. And I doubt if I can get my daggum. Yeah, I'll get some pictures in there, but there is no pressure signs. Now, let's get into the Lee bullet. Now, this is the Lee 358 158 round nose, round flat point, which everybody uses. Ain't like cowboy action. A lot of people just use it, period. But here it is. This bullet right here. Okay. Which I was shocked because it's a beveled base. It's somewhat accurate, but it really shot really well, and it fed in well with this Starline brass. Now it showed a little more pressure than the others. It actually may have been size 358. But anyway, the average speed on it was 22.20 with 23.8 grains of H110 with Starline brass. At this point, I gave up on the Winchester. I had 4 more loads with this load and just gave up on the Winchester because it just would not feed. I know the guy beside me was getting pretty nervous because I kept clearing live rounds. All right. So, and I've got more here. Let me cover this. Okay, so I shot another load of 17.5 grains 2400 with the NOE Starline brass and got an average of 1726. They didn't shoot too bad. I'll show you the targets and you can make of it what you will. Let's just say 5 minute to deer ain't too bad. That's something you can have. This is all shot at 100 yards too, guys. I'm shooting at 100 yards. Now, the one that I really want to get into, which was funny because here I was shooting these cast bullets and all of a sudden I decided, no, I want to shoot those 5 rounds that I've got loaded up with the little gun with the 225 grain Sierra Spritzer boat tail bullet. I decided to shoot them, and wouldn't you know it, right after I shot them, the chronograph died. I didn't die, it said battery. So I know what that means. All right. So with the Sierra 225 grain bullet Spritzer boat tail, and I'm going to tell this story. I'm going to tell it myself. You know, when you load a magazine, the round that you want first is going to be last. Well, not thinking about that, I load my magazine and I shoot it. I shoot my first round, and I'm wanting to check the pressure signs because anytime I start seeing some pressure, I want to shut it down. I'll pull the bullets, whatever. But I'm going to shut her down. I'm not going to go beyond that. So I shoot my first shot with this bullet, this 225 grain Sierra. Retrieve the brass. It's showing just a little bit of pressure. Now it's rifle pressure, but it's pressure. Up to this point, I'm not seeing this amount of pressure. And I'm going, holy cow, and I'm just starting. You know, and this is, in my mind, 20 grains of little gun. So, okay, I'll shoot the next round. We'll check it. So I shoot it. The velocity actually did go up. I went and retrieved my brass, but it didn't show the pressure shines that the first shot did. So I'm like, what the heck? Then it hit me that I shot 22 grains of little gun first. Okay, so now let's go back in order since it reversed. Here's my 5. You can call them Satterley loads if you want or whatever. But 5 rounds of little gun, starting with 20 grains, with the 225 grain Sierra bullet. I got 1747. That's 20 grains. 20 and a half grains, I got 1781. For 21 grains, I got 1793. And with 21 and a half grains, I got 1839. But with 22 grains, I got 1836. And it was starting to show pressure. So I'm pretty sure right around there is where I want to shut that off. I think somewhere within the 20.2 to 20.5 range is where I'm going to stick with this bullet with little gun. Little story about the little gun powder I didn't want to stop in Springfield to pick up any powder, so I stopped at my convenience store. I know I've seen a little gun in there before. I get in there, and man, he has cut down on his stock of powder, and I couldn't find it. It's like, what the heck? Finally, I found 2 jugs of it down below, 4-pound jug. So I had to buy a 4-pound jug of little gun, which is all right because I think little gun's going to be really good in this 300 or 350 Legend. All right. Now, like I said, after this, my chronograph pooped out on me, so I didn't get any more numbers, which is okay because it was the 17 and a half grains, 2400. And I already shot the 19 grains and not seeing any pressure. Well, that was actually 19.2 grains of 2400 without any pressure. That will probably be revisited and more lighter loads for that. Good Lord, guys, I didn't want this to be a long video. It's already 26 minutes. All right. Now, these are my shots with all 3 of them bullets with 17 and a half grains of 2400 and 19.2 grains 2400. Like I said, they're 6 minutes to deer. If you know, that will definitely at 100 yards take a deer. I know a lot of you are just wanting to pinpoint. Okay, before I waste any more time, I want to get right into the 225 grain Sierra. This was my very first shot. So this is the 22 grains of little gun on that 225 grain Sierra. And these little cluster here, that's less than an inch, was 21 and a half to 20 and a half grains, or 20 and a half grains to 21 and a half grains of little gun. And then this was my 20 grains of little gun. So that tells me that right around 21 grains, 21 and a half, is going to be the charge for that bullet. All right, guys, I'm going to throw in some pictures of my casings with some detail of what they are and give me your ideas on what you think. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.